Welcome. The podcast is It's the Principal. JB Mathers, the Honorable. He is Mikey Dominic, semi-pro, and we got a couple of rock stars. They've got an amazing podcast out of nowhere, based out of Nebraska. Danny Woodhead, Matt Slauson. Gentlemen, thank you for taking time out of your Midwestern lives and joining us today.
What's up, guys?
Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure. I'm down here in Monterey. I know Mikey's in Scottsdale, so sun to go around everywhere. Got a chance to listen to your guys' podcast again. I was coming down, making the drive, and great podcast you guys are doing. And the first thing that really kind of stood out to me that I was surprised by, Danny, you made the comment in there that how much you like playing for the Patriots. You like the structure. You like the way they do things. I was hoping you could expand on that, because the perception for me, and I think a lot of people out there, the Patriots aren't any fun. Guys can't wait to get out of there. I mean, the thing was with Tom left and Gronk, these guys can finally enjoy themselves. They don't just go, we're on to Cincinnati and Belichick running some like commune. So I was surprised when you said that. I was hoping you could kind of take us behind the curtain. That is the Patriots, because we just don't know a lot about that organization.
Yeah, I think it's more so. I mean, are there times when you're like, gosh, this is aggressively difficult? Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. But I think the biggest thing was, and after I left, is how much I appreciated it. You know, like, so almost like you don't know what you have until you're gone. The NFL is not always a business where people are kept accountable, and it doesn't matter. Well, New England was all accountability. And when you go and experience somewhere else, it's like, well, why aren't these guys just doing their job? You realize that it's like, oh, part of that's because of the culture in New England. Now, are there a few things that I would do differently if I was in New England? Like if I was a coach there? Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, they win a lot of Super Bowls, and they win a lot of games, and they always make the playoffs. But they do an incredible job of getting people to do their job. Could they do it in a different way? Sure, but that's not Belichick's way. Belichick has done it the same way the whole time. It's like, I totally respect it. I just probably do things a little different, but man, like, you're going to be in every single game. And that was the biggest thing.
And get these guys to play. So do you credit Belichick, and how much credit does Robert Kraft get? I mean, he's the one signing the checks.
Yeah, I think Robert Kraft gets all the credit in the world for hiring Bill Belichick.
Okay.
He lets Bill free reign on what he needs to do, and keeping everyone accountable. And then I'll tell you what, Kraft just gets to cash them checks. You know what I'm saying? The more he keeps making for every playoff game, for every Super Bowl. And the fact is, like, I don't even know if Robert Kraft cares about that anymore. He has so much money. But Mr. Kraft was great, but Bill's the one that's running the show and keeping the people accountable.
Do you think he will continue to evolve with the times and be able to run his style? Or is the chance, quote unquote, the game where these younger players who pissed you guys off so much in your careers will have too much say so and won't respond to a guy like Bill Belichick?
No, I think it always, because of what he's done. I mean, you look at his track record, you look at it, what he's done. It's kind of hard to be a 22-year-old roll in and be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh wait, he has like 7 rings. Like, so if it's someone else, and that's why a lot of like Patriots coaches went some other places, like even Mangini, Josh McDaniels in the first stop, which I think Josh McDaniels is going to kill it in Las Vegas now.
Interesting.
Because they tried to be someone that they weren't. And once they realize it's like, oh, I'm not Bill Belichick, I think they do much better the next time. Because I mean, Josh was an unbelievable offensive coordinator, and everything that people said he was in Denver, I was like, that was not Josh McDaniels I know. So I think you just learn. It's like, hey, I can't be Bill Belichick if I'm not Bill Belichick. There's only one person that's going to be like, yeah, do your job. Yeah, we're going to try to win a football game. Like, there's only one person.
Sorry, do you think that too is like what happened to Matt Patricia in Detroit? Besides going to Detroit, which is like one of the worst places on the planet to go.
Going to Detroit, yes, I would agree with you on that. Detroit is like going to the armpit of the world, right?
Yes.
And, you know, like more so like someone that worked out and has been under their armpit. But I would say that was also kind of his problem, right? Is he was probably trying to be too much like Bill instead of like, hey, you can implement all Bill's stuff with your personality. Like you can care about people maybe a little bit more than Bill, like if that's your personality, and still have the structure of keeping people accountable. Like, hey, you're not, it's what have you done for me lately? It's not what you did for me last year, because this is the NFL and each year is a new year. So like,
But what about the fact that like he hasn't done shit as being a head coach and he looks homeless, wears his hat on backwards, and has a pencil in his ear like he's a contractor? Like, I know it's 2020, we're not supposed to care about appearances, but talk about not looking like a head coach. I mean,
I personally, that was the best part I think about him. I loved it. So Matty P was there when I was in New England, and I loved him. I thought he was an incredible coach. And then I hear other people that are in Detroit, and it's kind of like the same thing. It's like, oh, that's not really what I would have thought of Matty P, because it's like they get into that role and they're like, it's like, well, I guess it worked with Bill, so I guess I'm going to have to talk like this in press conferences. I'll have to.
What about you? You saw it from the other side, being at the Jets, and then you played for other teams. And I love it. You hate Tom Brady. We definitely have a connection there.
I love Tom Brady. Do not listen to anything JB says. Tom Brady stole JB's girl when he was in college. That's why he's upset.
I mean, you got to think about it. In high school, like, I think I'm on the same level as Tom Brady. We're competing against each other, right? We're playing in high school all-star games, and now I'm here and he's there. So just do the math from there. But from Slauson perspective, you're seeing it with the Jets. You're seeing it around the league. Are you going, hey, screw these guys, or God, I wish I could get on board with something like that?
Yeah, no, I was definitely on the side of things of I would have done anything to play there. Now, when I say done anything, I mean, I did get offered to go to New England once, and it was a minimum offer, and I said, fuck that, I'm out. But within the realm of reality, yes, I would have picked there over just about anywhere else. And it is what you guys were talking about before, it's kind of an interesting phenomenon that happens in the coaching carousel. All these other organizations, they want to hire somebody from the Patriots because the Belichick factor. And then what Danny was talking about, organizations want the Belichickian way because it's proven to have worked over decades. And then they hire a guy who tries to be Belichick, and then it always fails. But that's what the organization wants. They want the Belichickian way. Bill, regardless of if it's fun or not, I've had this conversation with multiple teammates throughout my career, and a lot of them have said, like, no chance would I want to play there. Yeah, I want to win, but at the expense of your sanity and having fun and whatever else. I'm like, guys, pull your head out of your ass. I mean, winning is why we're here. Winning is fun. Okay. You want to go have fun? What is more fun than winning championship after championship? I mean, come on.
As well too.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And the only, like, looking back, like you were talking about it, Slaw, and I talked about it, like, if there's really one coach, and people won't agree with me that live in Houston, Bill O'Brien did a great job with the Texans. He just didn't have a quarterback ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Who did he have?
So when I say the Belichickian way, it's not just Bill. It's the whole thing that he has created there. It is a complete machine where, JB, like you alluded to, the young guys in the league. Well, at every other organization, they come in with their egos and are like, you can't tell me anything, this and that. They know better than every coach. At the Patriots, the coaches are every player's boss. You can't say anything. It's do your job, because the coaches know everything about the system, because if they don't, they're going to hear about it from Bill, and there's going to be a change. I was unfortunate enough to play for some bad organizations. Now I also played for some good ones. And I always looked at New England and meant like, man, like how do they do it different? And it is just because everybody is moving in the same direction at all times. So the example I'll give is Randy Moss. Like that guy, when he came into New England, he was done. He was a problem everywhere.
Yeah, he washed out with the Raiders.
Yeah. And he comes in and Bill says, get in line or you're going to be gone. And he shut his mouth and he got in line and he solidified his Hall of Fame career.
Let me ask you guys this, and it's always, I think, a question, or at least the fans have, and I'm sure players wondered all the time, especially when you're coming out of the draft or free agency. You talked about Matt Patricia, take your pick of people who have gone through Detroit and have not succeeded. And until the Bengals this year, they looked like perennial losers. As an NFL player and quote unquote making it in the league, how much is, obviously there's talent and then there's hard work, but literally how much is the organization and the predicament you land in important to the trajectory of your career, whether you make it or don't?
I mean, I think it's a huge indicator-ish. I mean, now anyone that works hard is going to find a way to get on a team, but there's so many teams that don't play their best players. And they just play whoever they drafted or whoever one of the scouts upstairs thinks looks like the person that should be playing that position because they're buddies with the GM. And I mean, so it definitely matters. Like, especially at my situation, I needed someone that was going to be okay with looking at a 5'8", 200-pound white guy at the running back.
From a Division II program.
Yes, from a Division II program, because a lot of those other teams, and that was also probably in my first stop why I didn't get a real great shake at it, is I needed to be at a place that they didn't care what you looked like. They're going to play you if you're better than the person that was technically in front of you. And I believe New England was one of the only places that I was really going to get a legitimate shot. And then once you get that shot, whatever opportunity or whatever you do with the opportunity, then it's like, well, you got film out there. So now people at least respect you and understand it. So I think it's a big deal. There's also a lot of guys that just don't take advantage of opportunities, or I don't know. Wouldn't you agree, Slaw? I mean,
100%. So, ability gets you in the door. I think it is different position to position. Woodhead's position was dramatically different than mine. He needed a lot more athleticism, and he needed that athleticism to sustain throughout the entirety of his career. Whereas, in my position, the athleticism gets you in the door, but then it's all, what's between your ears and what's in your chest that sustains you. It's your work ethic. It's your pride in being a professional, wanting to work harder than everybody else, show up early, staying late, studying more, lifting more, taking care of your body better, doing every little thing that shows being a professional means more to you than the other guy. But it was my size and my strength. I mean, you want to call it speed. I have very little speed, but I had enough speed to get me in the door. And then,
and your good looks. I think that had something to do with it.
Yeah,
Phenomenal
without a doubt.
Phenomenal figure too.
And golf swing, don't forget that.
I've just been looking at it. I saw it firsthand.
So you ran into that with Mike Tenenbaum. I mean, I get it. Like, if the New York Giants take Saquon Barkley and he doesn't work out, man, that's too bad. He just didn't work out. They take Danny Woodhead, he doesn't work out. People are like, yo, Mike Tenenbaum, you didn't notice that he's a little white dude from Division II? Like, those are career enders. But you had to deal with that from the wrong side when you're with Mike Tenenbaum. You're a 6th-round pick. And GMs, I'm sure it's like at the little league level to relate to people's coach's kid. That's my guy. And they're going to try to force those picks to validate what they did instead of saying, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. Let me go with the 6th-rounder.
Right. And from my perspective, it doesn't make any sense, because if I don't work out, there's no skin off his back for that, because I was a six round pick. Nobody's expecting anything out of me anyway. So if he would have just said, yeah, I chose him, we're going to give him a shot and see. And if he doesn't got it, he doesn't got it. But instead he went the other way and said like, no, I don't care about this guy. Now any success goes against him. Where is if he just said right out the gate, yep, yeah, I stand by my pick, because nobody really cares about a sick.
Yeah, no one cares.
Pick.
Like no one's gonna be like, man, you really missed out on that 6th round pick. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's just another 6th rounder.
Yeah, it was a much bigger miss for him to be to then draft my replacement, who ended up couldn't hacking it in the 2nd round. He could not hack it, and I continually beat him out. That was a far bigger miss. So I mean, if GMs just did what's best for the organization and stop worrying about their own skin, teams would be a lot more competitive year in, year out, instead of where you have, 25 to 28 teams. It's just like, we'll see this year.
So who has more say so when it comes to PT? Because I'm getting a little confused now. Is it your head coach? Is it your position coach? Is it your GM? Or is it different by franchise?
It's different by franchise. Yep. It all depends.
That's why a lot of head coaches or guys that are interviewing, it takes time to hammer out the details of the contract, because they're like, I'm not going somewhere where this guy upstairs who's never played a down of football is calling the shots. Like Bill Belichick calls everything. Mm-hmm. In San Diego, our head coach didn't get any say. So
I don't even know why New England even has a GM.
They actually don't. They have a guy that's like director of player personnel, and they do like some of that, and just they provide Bill with information, then Bill decides.
Does what Bill tells them. Hey, Mike, if you're going to fucking leave in the middle of the podcast, get us all beers, would you?
Well, first of all, it's a podcast, dude. This isn't The View. I don't have to sit here the whole time. You guys are talking football. It's not.
Good thing it's not. Otherwise, your ratings would be dropping, right?
I know.
Zero
followers to what?
We have one follower, Jack Riggins, Commander Jack Riggins.
Let's go.
He's probably listening live somehow through the CIA. I have no idea. I felt he was good. It's Friday. I needed a beer. I had a long day in the qualifier yesterday. So you know what? Screw it. Like, I'm just going to absolutely send it. And that's okay with me. If you guys aren't okay with it, that's fine.
Well, I'm just pissed you didn't share it with the rest of us. And I want to kind of transition to golf, Mikey. So you talked about anger. You became that heel, and your career was basically on being that pissed off guy. And the coaches know you could light it up. That's great on the football field. But how the hell is your wife, kids, and more importantly, your golf game deal with it? Because I know for me, a shitty Division II player who did not make it anywhere past that, the hardest transition for me in golf, right? You're having a bad day at football, at least go try to smoke somebody or you'll get smoked. But it feels good. Mm-hmm. Golf, the more frustrated I get, the shittier my golf game gets. How'd you deal with that, Slaw?
Well, I mean, look, you got to always find some way to compete in anything, whatever it is. I mean, I don't care if I'm out in the driveway playing hoops with the kids. I'm going to be dunking on them. I'm going to just be rejecting everything. Just blocking all their shots. I don't care that they're 8 and 10. No, I'm going to destroy
figure
them.
It out.
It's not orange slices for all the kids. And hey, you beat daddy today.
Yeah. It's looking for little opportunities here and there just to be a dick. Not enough of a dick to get in trouble for it, but just enough that's like, yeah, that's right. I'm big. Here we go. And then my wife yells at me. She's a little 5'1" Italian gal, and she's like, "Hey, stop it! You're not playing football anymore. Knock it off."
Italians control the household, dude. They really.
Then your butthole puckers up when Cammy says something. You're like, "Oh no."
Yep.
Danny, you got a chance to play with Tom Brady. Obviously, big news. He retired this week. You just got a story maybe you can share with us that, the masses hasn't heard yet, or something when you think about that relationship with TB, and maybe it was, in the huddle, or hell, maybe it was on the golf course.
Yeah. I would say the thing that I remember, and this is even like, if you look at any of the other quarterbacks I played with, it's maybe the small things that you like appreciate or make them great or whatever it would be. And I remember just on certain plays. It happened more than once, but just on like a play when you're just looking for your protection, who you have to block. And right before the play, Tom is in the middle of cadence. He's like, I'm going to need you here, Woody. And it's like, okay, knowing like, all right, I better go win, because that's our way of getting this third down conversion. Whenever he would say that, though, it also freed me up, because I'm like, no one's blitzing, that means. And it's the small things like that is where you're in the middle of a game and he's talking to me in the middle of the cadence and just kind of freeing me up to go and know that my number's kind of being called, as long as I'm not an idiot on the play. So like stuff like that. I mean, that's what makes the greats great, is just any form of communication or edge that he's giving his other teammates that can help us, get a first down or get a few extra yards that we need to get into field goal range, whatever it is.
How do you guys handle the fact that it's a quarterback league, whether you like it or not? If you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning football games. You guys mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you win games, you're getting paid, you're having fun, all is good. What's that like knowing it's out of your hands, and how important did you guys feel in your career was to get hooked up with a Phillip Rivers, a Tom Brady, and not be stuck with, today's version of Drew Lock or, Jamarcus Russell or something?
Jamarcus.
Well, hopefully you play for a organization that actually cares, because if you play for an organization that actually cares and knows how to evaluate talent, you're all right. See, we were fortunate with the quarterbacks that we played with, and it's very important. I'm okay with it. Like, I think it's the most important position on the team. I mean, you better have a quarterback that can, because it puts us in better situations. As far as like the O-line or running backs in blitz pickup, or if you have a good quarterback that changes the mic point on a run play, which is huge, because even though centers can do it, they still have a hand in the ground. They have the hand on the ball. They're looking up from a crouch position, whereas a quarterback can see everything. So
yeah, you got a nose guard right on top of you.
Yeah,
you're trying to see through three levels of players to see what they're doing, rotating where to decide if you need to back up a mic point or push it, where a quarterback that has that ability to, they have the view to see everything. And because they're studying the defensive structure and rotations every single play, they have a comfortability with that. So, to Danny's point, it's the most important thing when it comes to wins, is having a quarterback. I would say unfortunately it is like that, because a team's built of 53 guys, so you would hope that every player is 153rd, but really the quarterback is, like a quarter of that. And then
and you notice that on payday too, probably, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, significantly.
And then the other 52 players make up the other 3/4 of
their game. Their game checks are our salaries,
Yeah, jeez.
So they're looking down the field. They're studying stuff. They can see everything. You're sitting there looking face to face with Aaron Donald, having to block this guy who's just a ton of man meat. Tell us a little bit about that, because we see him on TV. We see the Rams got Von Miller now, which I don't agree with, because I think that the Rams are freaking paying for a Super Bowl and all that other crap, whatever, right? I don't like Jalen Ramsey at all. I think he's a punk. I don't like Odell Beckham Jr. I think he's a whiner. Matt Stafford, everyone's all over him, and they think he's great now when, he just put up stats in Detroit. Of course, it's Detroit. I think Matt Stafford's a great quarterback, but it's Detroit. So he's coming down now. Everyone's treating him like he's the savior. Poor Jimmy Garoppolo's going home again. And Patrick Mahomes. The one thing I do like about the Chiefs losing is I didn't have to watch a freaking TikTok of Jackson Mahomes dancing on the freaking field. I am so over that guy. Like, I was about ready to throw an axe.
I thought you were hoping for a champagne bath from his wife.
Dude, that was even what? First of all, I don't even think it's his wife, isn't it? Is it like his baby mama or something? They're not
Yeah,
even-
I think they might be engaged-ish. I
Yeah,
think
so, well, they got
they
engaged-
live
well,
together and have a kid, so it's wife-ish or something.
It's wife elect. It's wife elect. But she
He's a problem too.
basically he signed that huge contract. He signed that huge contract, and 3 days later, she's like, "Oh, guess what? I'm pregnant." And I'm like,
Yeah, he is such a he seems
Crippling.
like such a wholesome dude that's just doing it right. You know, the way he carries himself, the way he interacts with his teammates and his coaches, like his trajectory in football is enormous. And the people around him, his support people around him, is just like,
horrible.
what the hell is going on right now?
It's kind of like on tour. You know,
Are you telling me, Mikey, you wouldn't want to start dancing in one of JM's TikToks?
Here's the thing. I could, I think I could, but I'm not going to do it on the retired number of who was the Redskins?
Yeah, that was not the best
That was
situation.
horrible, right? And they have pictures of them at dinner.
It's not the
and
Redskins, it's the Commanders.
the commies.
Jack Riggins.
Yes.
Jack Riggins bought a football team. Holy
The
crap.
Washington Riggins.
Coming
Yes. He
Washington
should be their
Riggins.
mascot right there on the side of the helmet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those fucking
dude, what
glasses
a
that he wears,
horrible
though.
man.
With hip
And
replacements and all.
Glasses.
Mark
Yeah.
my words, though. Mark my words. Sometime within the next year or two, a situation with his brother is going to happen, and he will be straight kicked out of the family. He will never be allowed to be around
He's gonna get
ever
some
again.
advice from Aaron Rodgers and just start fucking throwing family members out the door left and right.
And I'm here for
Speaking of
all that,
Aaron,
bro.
my
speaking of
gosh.
Aaron, we were at Greyhawk having a little meeting on Tuesday morning, and guess who walks in? Danica Patrick. And I was like, Danica, how are you? I didn't actually say
I'll
it.
be honest.
Like,
I
I got
met
like
her-
kind of one of those side little like pictures, you know, for
She's
and
not
then
hot.
she kind of looked at me, and I'm just like, dude.
I would have just said, you want to race?
You
Hey,
off
you want to
it?
race?
You off it, JB?
I met her in person when she was driving IRL, and I was pretty fired up. I'll be honest. She resembled a freaking jockey to me. She
Yeah.
was just.
Short,
She was
stocky.
like 5 feet tall, like 100 pounds, maybe. I mean, I like a little thickness on my ladies. So let's just say that.
I think you got to put it in perspective, though. She's a NASCAR driver. She's the absolute hottest NASCAR driver of all time.
Well, this was pre-NASCAR,
I
so
don't
maybe
know.
post NASCAR, I could get at it. Well, hold on to your question, Mikey.
Yeah.
About Aaron
Question.
Donald. When is your off fuck moment? When you're watching film leading up to it, or the game starts and you look across the line of scrimmage, and it's like, Jesus Christ, here we go.
No, it's the first time you get beat. So you know, Danny and I talk about this on our pod all the time, the self-talk. You know, I was a dramatically different type of psyche than him, where all week long I'd just be watching him just destroying everybody, like Tasmanian devil stuff out there. And I'm just like, man, I'm gonna destroy this guy. Yeah, he's messing up these guards over here, but those guys are chumps. He ain't seen anybody like me.
He ain't seen Slaw yet.
Yeah. So then I get in the game and he steps on the field. I'm like, yeah, he's jacked, but he's also like 5'11", like 280, like little teeny tiny guy. I'm like,
small.
yeah, I'm like, here we go. I mean, this is gonna be fine. So the first time I get beat by him is when I'm like, oh boy, I was wrong. So that's like play one. And I got another 74 to go.
You didn't even have a few plays to warm up. He posted you on the first play.
No. The first time I played him, I was at center. I had to fill in at center because our center broke his leg the week before that. And we were playing in St. Louis. So this was back in the day. And I came out of that game. I had a couple sweet blocks. I was player of the game. And I'm like, yeah, I just whooped up on Aaron Donald here. Everybody's talking about what a psycho he is. When I put on the film on the way home, I was like, oh my God. Yes, I didn't give up any sacks, but I probably gave up like 14 hits. It was ridiculous.
Is that the game that Pro Football Focus graded you as the best guard that week?
No, that was the week before we were playing Oakland. So I started the game left guard. Third play of the game, our center snaps his leg in two. So I have to slide over and play center now. And we go into overtime. And so I ended up playing something like 88 plays at center, 3 plays at guard. And I graded out the number 1 left guard in the league.
Real quick, and you guys don't have to elaborate. Pro Football Focus, bullshit or legit?
Bullshit. Horrendous.
It's honestly, I know someone that got offered a job to work as like a person that grades like each player. That person didn't play high school football. So I would say your microphone has a better chance of being more accurate.
So they're like,
this is how it works, Mikey. If Pro Football Focus was going to call you today, say, hey, we want you to come in and grade all these films. They'll put you in a room with 4 games on at once and say, you have to grade all 11 players at once. You know what you're going to start doing? And this is somebody with your football knowledge here. You're just going to go like, I can't keep up. So I'm just going to start putting pluses and minuses wherever, because you can't keep up.
They put you in a room kind of like they put in who was it? They had a concussion at Texas Tech. Put him in a dark shed.
Oh, Adam Craig James' kid.
Yeah. It's very similar. That's how Pro Football Focus does it with their graders.
Final football question, and then we'll talk a little golf before we cut everyone loose and Slaw can get back to shooting coyotes and Danny can get back to daddy detail.
Yes.
With retirement, we talked about Brady. Did you guys retire, or did the game retire on you? How did it work?
I ended up retiring. Fortunately, doesn't usually happen that way. And I'll answer for Slaw. Slaw broke his neck, but he's still retired. Like teams, we could have kept on playing, but there's also comes a time too when you've played so long, and we would have had to maybe switch teams or whatever. Then you're putting your family through that. Your kids keep switching schools, and next thing you know, your kids don't even know where home is, and it's just not a great situation. And I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to have my family. That was always the rule. I'd retire before we lived in separate towns. So that's kind of how mine went down. You can go, Slaw, but I kind of already said.
No, you're exactly right. My final game, I came out of the game with nine breaks in my spine, and immediately my wife was like, "Okay, you're fucking done." And so it was kind of tough for me because I felt like the game was taken from me a little bit, and going through the rehab process and kind of battling back. I still knew the chances of playing again were pretty slim, but then when the doctors cleared me and said I was all good, all of a sudden, I'm catching calls from 2 or 3 other teams offering me to come in and play, and then I got to walk away. So it's kind of a little bit petty on my part, because it's almost like I was entertaining those offers just so I could say, never mind, I'm walking away.
Screw you guys.
I broke up with her. She didn't break up with me, bitch.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't really. I haven't heard the story of you breaking your neck because I interrupted you at Dismal.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
I would have never guessed that.
You had something really important to talk about. I don't remember what it is because it wasn't important.
I can't remember what it was, but it was.
It's probably something cool though.
It was really cool.
Folks who don't know,
it got the table together.
Mikey and I are the new guys, along with like Scott Nieder gang, and fucking Slaw is holding court talking about breaking necks, ruining people, NFL, the shit people love to hear. New guy, all little Mikey down the keeps interrupting Slaw to tell stories of like a 4-foot putt that nobody gives 2 fucks about.
I cared.
He won a Nassau, 24 Nassau.
Listen, dude,
it was obvious that you cared, Mikey.
Maybe you were sitting there rubbing legs with the commander. You're a rookie, and you went and sat next to the Godfather himself, Jason Hines, like, this is my seat right here. And then all of a sudden, like everything's going on and you're sitting there. I mean, yeah, of course you get off to that shit, but it's like.
Sorry, I wanted to hear stories from NFL players, guys who fucking shot people in the goddamn Middle East and keep our country free, guys, CEOs who started, not guys that I saw grow up on a high school golf course.
Bro, dude, yeah, but look where we are now. We've made it. We're here. Like, look at how far we come. How many guys can say that? Like,
we ride out here. We ride out here.
Yes.
All right, I got a legit question for all of you. And let's think about golf and how much we all love the game of golf. And of course, we all want to get better. I'm talking to a certain CEO of a golf company recently. I'm not going to give any names because he probably doesn't want to be associated with this conversation, but I think we all know who he is.
Yes, we do.
And we're just having a casual conversation. I was telling him about a trip to Bandon, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, how's your game? I'm like, well, more of the same. I can throw up a mid-80s and then about 5 rounds of 110. And we started talking about the mental aspect. And he says, well, JB, I recently, and he's dead serious and not kidding. So you need to try this so you can think positive. He's like, I took mushrooms before my round and shots of tequila. He said, JB, what kills your golf game? Negative thoughts. You do shrooms, you have tequila. He said for 4.5 hours, I didn't have a single negative thought, had the time of my life, shot the round of my life. And I'm sitting there. Okay. I'm not a drug guy, guys. I'm not into drugs. I grew up in the 80s, no to drugs, war on drugs, all that bullshit. And I'm
DARE program.
Contemplating if I'm willing to become a junkie to become a scratch golfer.
Would you be willing? I mean, here's the thing, like guys have done that all the time over the years, right? So like obviously where we grew up, Humboldt County, Emerald Triangle, like all that stuff. I'm not into drugs. I would rather drink a few beers, something that's kind of legal, go around a little gold top. But guys, like when I was first on the main tours and I'm like, holy shit, I got one guy in my group drinking at 9 a.m. because he can't putt. Now I got another guy who was smoking a blunt on the 4th tee box. Like it was something. It was like these guys literally just got let out of jail, and here's me, little Mikey, coming from private college and all that. Whatever. I just moved to Scottsdale. I'm like super sophisticated, and then I just go, holy shit! Like I'm out here with these guys that are just degenerates and hit the golf ball really good and just want to kill you. I'm like, it's amazing. I'm still alive today.
JB, to answer your question,
if you do the round of your life, you're never golfing again without doing shrooms.
Oh, dude,
it would be a mistake. Because then you just want to, next thing you know, you're just taking shrooms every day.
Right? You're now taking a shopping cart from your home to Target, bringing it back. You're probably begging for change. I mean, you're a total piece of shit junkie, but you are now the golfer you always dreamed of being. I mean,
I love that. I love that.
It's quite a
but
question.
You're a scratch. But you're a scratch.
You're a scratch. You lost your wife, your kids, your house, but you're a scratch golfer, bro. Congratulations, man.
I mean, I was talking about, but I say, think about it. My entire life, I wanted to be successful and not do drugs, any of that shit. And I'm willing to trade it all in and become a huge junkie if that means I can fix my golf game. All right, guys. So as we wrap things up here, Slaw, let's start with you. What is your golf goal games for 2022? What are we going to see when you bring it to Dismal this year?
Well, I need to go get a proper drug dealer, apparently.
Well, let's just say I might know a guy who might be in Nebraska.
just go.
Because I am all in. I am down the rabbit hole. I have changed my swing like 14 times. I'm just finding new things, playing pretty good golf. I mean, I went out and played last week, and what I do, Danny, a triple
80. Bogey
on 18 to shoot an 84, like super pumped.
Dude.
I wasn't super pumped about the 84, but or about the triple on 18.
Say you were.
But January golf in Nebraska, and I'm in the mid 80s already. Like, here we go, and I just switched up my swing. So if I stay on this rate, I should be hitting in the 60s. By the time we go.
Love it.
What's your number you want to get to though? You have to have an actual goal.
Yeah, I'd like to this year achieve like a 2 or a 3.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. I think you could. I think you could. Your game is, from the time that I played with you, I was drunk and had the shanks and we lost a bunch of money.
Well,
But
I was leaning on you hard there.
I mean, you lean on me, and it basically looks like you and Jay doing the Oklahoma drill.
I think it was just a
Zach would
weird
just
relationship
snap
starter
into
on
it.
night one. Night one was a weird relationship starter. Maybe you were just shanking because you were scared. You didn't know.
It wasn't. Well, the
And,
thing
and I quote from Danny and Slau's conversation, quote, bro, the new guys suck.
Hey, not me. I like everyone.
kind of.
That wouldn't you
Kind
say
of.
that's
You were in a
true?
little bit. You were in a little bit of a pissy mood the second 18 the first day. I think you were tired and you needed a hug.
First day. Who was the round?
It was you, me, Mikey Colgate, Jack Riggins, and Violent.
I don't remember it.
Jay was slurring
could
his
see-
words. Riggins had the shanks.
Yeah, that was when we were all
Colgate-
hammered.
Colgate was talking to
you guys
you.
coming down the stretch.
That's right.
You were upset about something, and I didn't know what it was, and I tried to get on it, and then you drove off in your own car. And I was like, okay, see you later.
That's very fair. There was probably something that set me off.
There was,
If there's something stupid, it would have set me off.
Danny,
If
what
it's
are you looking
dumb-
for 2022
Oh.
for your golf game.
Bro, I don't know. I mean, I want to compete. I would love to win a tournament. I'm going to be honest. I'd love to win a tournament and kind of just see, or at least be in like a final group or within reach in one of the AMs.
Well, you
Yeah,
were within reach this year.
I know, but I want to continue to do that is what
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
gotcha.
I want to continue to do that.
What does your
'cause
golf
then
game need to make that next step, do you think?
I just need to be I need
Hilarious.
be a little bit more consistent. What'd you say?
I know what it is.
I need to be a little more consistent. Me personally, I believe from 85 to like 160. I mean, yes, I have to.
Like half your bag.
Well, not really. It's real. I mean, it would be
Not when he hits his lob wedge, like
115 to
125.
No, but 115 to 160 then. But I do need to get
Okay.
better on some of the shorter. That's why I included 85, like not half shots, but half shot ish. Because my distance just my distance to the hole, I feel like struggled a little bit the past year. I can hit it far enough. That's not like my concern. So yeah, I've actually been working on a lot of stuff just in the past couple of weeks and have been getting some very good results, but I want to be way more consistent. I don't want to have a round of 67 and then a round of 76. Like I don't want to deal with that.
Semi-pro, you said you know what can fix his game. What is Dr.
Yeah, what is
Semi-pro doing at DW?
No, I just a lot of people say, hey, I need to get more consistent from this distance, right? Like that's basically what it is. Like tour pros, what a lot of tour pros do is that they hit the ball from 190 to 250 yards, and their strokes gained from that distance gap is just beyond an amateur scratch +1, +2 player.
Right.
So if you're going into a par 5 and you got 235 in and you're hitting the green, that's strokes gained. If you have a 250 yard par 3 and you're hitting the green, that's strokes gained. I saw Sean O'Hare, Wyndham Clark, Aaron Baddeley, all those guys who just hit their long irons in their woods so good.
Yeah.
So because the PGA Tour average from 117 yards is like 20 feet. I mean,
but I'm probably like 55 feet.
Yeah, but those are too big of greens. You need to play a green courses.
No, I made up 55.
Right, but you always have to remember that your approach shot, is like there's a lot of wedge shots. Your swing is different than a full shot.
Yes.
Right, a little further back in the stance, open foot, stay on top of it, and with your swing, the way that you have a ton of rotation and flexibility and a ton of extension in your arms. And I think like something that will make your irons better is if you have a little shorter and a little bit more hands in it, because you're a field player. You
said a little bit more hands and a little shorter swing.
Shorter arms, longer hands, basically, or shorter. I'm sorry. Let me.
I feel like you guys should be having this conversation.
No, I like this. We need this. Go ahead.
Shorter arms, shorter hands, but having shorter arms and shorter hands will let the club head move more back and more through. So you're letting the club head do the work more versus Danny having a little too much Danny, and then that is going to make it so that your distances are inconsistent.
Yes, and almost like I'm swinging some of my irons like I'm swinging my driver right now. Yes.
Which you're trying to just crush and
Yes.
absolutely send it.
So that's exactly what I'm trying to work on.
Right.
It's like, don't send it.
Loosen these up. Loosen these up. Spirit fingers.
Like
Two
this.
more questions before we shut it down. First
like
one to you,
this?
semi-pro. You're in golf purgatory. You're semi-pro. You're real estate. You're getting married. Where's your golf game go? You become a permanent amateur. You're gonna make another hard go at trying to make some money at this bad boy.
I don't know. Like I'm in between, because here's the thing. It's like I have no problem going back and being an amateur. But everyone's like, hey, do you like, yeah, like being an amateur? Like I know all these guys that played for like a year or 2 years and they gave it a run, right? And then they sit there and they get their amateur status back and they do nothing but play AGA events, USGA qualified. Like they're playing golf all the time. And then, so I sit there, I'm like, dude, I traveled the world and played for 10 years, 40 out of 52 weeks out of the year. I don't know if I really want to get my AM status back and just go grind and like play all these events, whatever. I would love to do like a USGA 4-ball qualifier where I got a partner, you know, but I see these guys, like they're done with work at 2 and they're at the golf course till dark and then they go home.
Well, Mikey, what's held you back from making it? Is there a part of your game?
Besides everything?
Is it the driver?
Besides,
No, I was always I've always been a really good driver of the golf ball. Actually, I battled the yips in every part of my game at some point in my career. Like I had the putting yips, I had the chipping yips at one point, I had iron yips, I had driver yips, and I got the driver yips from actually playing the TaylorMade SLDR, right? Because that was just a knuckleball driver where if you miss it left and right, it just kept going. Where like when you miss your driver, you want something that's going to spin and get down.
Yeah.
So, but I got really screwed up. I was just talking about this the other day. I got really screwed up when I first started playing because everybody would put your swing on film. So I'm sitting there constantly wondering what my swing looked like versus what is the ball flight doing, right? You can have them like I look at Jim Furyk, look at Victor Hovland. Their swings move all over the place.
Yeah.
And the ball flight is dead nut straight.
Every time. And I used to just hate you. I'm like, this is the ugliest effing golf swing on the planet. I kind of love
boring.
it.
He's ugly.
He isn't very cute.
He's not cute. I would not.
He's effective.
But his wife is.
He's effective. Lots of.
But his wife is. But that's the thing though. Is like all these people. If you start working with a coach, and they put you on film and they start going like this and going like that. Oh, get your swing up here to like this. It's like, listen, we're not Asian. We're white. We can't deal with that. 20 minutes at a time. Keep it simple, stupid. Like look at the divot, look at the ball flight, and you will discuss everything. I know. If you sign a 10 lesson package deal with a pro, dude, get your money back. Like you should literally be able to work with somebody for an hour to an hour and a half one time, and you should immediately better and more confident. And those are things I know now that I did not know when I got started. And did I have the game to get there? Yes, I did. Like I had all the talent in the world to get there, but did I just not find stuff at a certain time? Yeah, probably.
You ended up in the Detroit.
And that's why I'm here. And I'm okay with that.
You know, the Detroit of the golfer. God. Final question. We're just about out of time. Matt Slauson, ramen expert or amateur ramen expert. What is the key to making great ramen? Because I'll be honest, I've always been a pho guy over ramen, but you know, give us some Stone Cold Lead Pop box for great ramen.
Yeah.
Pho's the best.
Pho. Well, I mean, you live out in Cali there, so you know, pho is everywhere. Oh, over here in Nebraska, there's not a whole lot of pho going on. So ramen takes over, and the kids love it. All the kids' friends love it. They're like, you need to tell our parents how you cook it. It's really simple. All you do is you undercook the noodles just a touch, and then you drain them almost all the water out, but leave a little bit. So you put in the flavor packet, stir it up, and then you toss the noodles back in. You don't do the flavor packet on the noodles in the pot. You take them out, strain them, and leave a little bit of water in there, then mix the flavoring in with that. So that way it disperses the flavor over all.
I didn't know that.
Easy peasy.
Neither did I. I'm kind of hungry now.
I love that. I have one last question for Danny.
Yeah.
Did Bill Belichick, because he's an expert texter,
right?
Did he ever send you a text that was like meant to be sent to Tom Brady, where it's like,
or to Danny Amendola?
Yeah.
Is the story not
You've been
nuts?
Wrong guy.
Yeah, that never happened. That never did.
That
Can we
story
just talk
going
about
on
that
right
quick
now is
for real?
nuts.
All right, did Belichick do it on purpose?
Come on. I had to bring this up.
He did not do it on purpose. I think he's so probably technically like not savvy. And he just saw, oh, Brian. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. And he's probably typing it out like this with just his 2 index fingers. And it's like, oh no.
With his glasses on like this.
Yeah, and then he's like, that's Brian Flores. Hey, can I say this? Someone was talking about how someone tried to say that Belichick was in the wrong for maybe he was trying to get Dayball the job at New York. He's totally in the right if he did, because he's trying to get Dayball away from the Bills so he doesn't have to face them ever again. That's strategy. No one gets it. Like, and the thing is, if he did do it, who cares? Like, he's just trying to win games. He doesn't want Dayball there because Dayball's had his number.
Yeah.
That's why I always played opposite field events from Tiger. Like, Tiger, you should go to Firestone. I'll go play Puerto Rico. We'll talk to you later, buddy. Thoughts and prayers.
All the layers going on to this Flores deal is just crazy to me. Talking about how the Dolphins were offering him huge amounts of money to throw games, and now I'd
be more bothered if they really offering money to like throw babies.
I have been around.
Time out. As somebody that's a degenerate gambler on Sundays, that really pisses me off and concerns
100%.
me if teams are taking games. And whether the NFL wants to admit it or not, NFL is king because of gambling.
I just wouldn't bet on the worst team because
I have
suspect stuff.
I have gotten that question a lot. You know, if your team's bad, has coaches ever said like, hey, you know, trying to position ourselves to get a better draft? No. Never happened once. And I know Brian Flores. I have coached with him. He's an awesome coach, awesome dude. So if he says that that's what the Dolphins were doing, I 100% believe it.
Do you think he got bad advice by doing this? Because he is committing career suicide.
Yes, I think it's horrible advice.
I don't know if it is. Let me
be frank.
If he wants to be done.
Yeah,
right,
he's already made a lot of money.
That's right. And he'll make money from this lawsuit. So like, if he actually just doesn't want to coach anymore because it's like long.
Yeah,
is it?
I mean, he's gonna get a settlement.
That's what I'm saying.
This seems like something the Washington Commanders would do.
Oh.
Like, I don't see that coming from Miami. Like, you got Pitbull down there. I don't see it coming from Carolina. I don't see it coming from Robert Kraft.
It's the Commanders.
But the Washington Commanders, I could totally see paying their coach to totally tank to get a better draft pick, and then they just completely keep tanking.
Okay, can I say this? Would you rather, like, you're talking about, did he get bad advice? Did Flores?
Yeah.
Did Washington Commanders, their name people, did they get bad advice from those people?
Oh, I guarantee they hired some bullshit marketing company and they went through this whole thing and like this committee of 30 people, and it was the least offensive, least dramatic thing they could do.
I'm sure that there's a way to say that's offensive, though. I mean, think about it.
There are ways.
We will find a way. Today. That's what I'm saying.
Everything's offensive.
The thing is that the other name, which I personally like better, which is still a little weird, was the Washington Red Wolves. Well, like the Wolves, some of those Wolves, they'd probably get mad if they weren't like red.
I know.
Well, PETA would be pissed.
Right, because they're like, I don't know where the Red Wolves are,
and people are going to hunt
like
them,
the Washington
and taxiderm, put them in their man cave.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they couldn't go with anything Wolves just because all the trademark stuff and all the other sports.
Well, did you know there was an AAFL team or a USFL team that was the Commanders too, and that the same?
I heard about that. Yes. Like, what are we doing? Are you trying to get an AAFL team in the NFL?
Hey, I still love the fact that the NFL investigated the Redskins, the Washington football team, and the only thing that came out was John Gruden's got some issues.
Yeah, you know why, right? Because there was some stuff that obviously went wrong, and they're like, "Oh, John Gruden." Oh,
I think it goes back to Al Davis. The NFL has always
Gruden.
hated the Raiders.
Emails.
I do have one last football.
I love
question.
that.
We're gonna run overtime. JB's got to get to dinner at 5 p.m.
Oh, I
His
love
buddy's
that.
turning 45.
Hey,
years
I'm having
old.
my first drink of 2022.
Oh my God,
Let's go.
Congratulations.
You're drinking Coors Light, bro. It's freaking water, right?
How's
You,
the
I
drinking
might as well
blue,
call
bitch?
Coors Light sex
He's
in the
just
canoe. 'Cause it's
He's just
close to water.
hydrating. He's just hydrating.
It's close to water. Sex in the canoe. It's close to water.
It's gonna happen.
So my last NFL question. So you have Jimmy Garoppolo. He's probably out in San Francisco. Aaron Rodgers can't win a freaking playoff game to talk about him going to San Francisco. Trey Lance, I think he's going to be a complete bust. I can't stand that guy. You have all this stuff going around. I think there's huge problems in Dallas. Because you have Jerry Jones, who's the owner, head coach, general manager, janitor, and president, and owner,
Right.
whatever.
Marketing guy too.
Yeah.
Right. I know Slaw has his opinions on Jerry Jones. I 100% agree with that. And then you also have Peterson being hired as the Jacksonville coach today. And he's got Trevor Lawrence. And Jacksonville right now is like the new Cleveland where rookie careers go to die. What is going on in the NFL? What do you guys think is going to happen this next year? Is Trevor Lawrence ruined? Is he going to have to do Subway commercials the rest of his life? Or what's going on here? Like give us something.
Slaw, you give your opinion.
I want Slaw here. I want Slaw.
Okay. I want to hit on Jacksonville first. Okay. Because I am a constant hater of Jacksonville. An organization sucks. Everything they do sucks. This was the first good hire that they have done. And the reason I say it is because Peterson's a proven coach.
But he was with Frank Reich when he was proven.
I know that. This isn't me saying that he's going to go there and be successful and Jacksonville's going to be successful.
But they hired someone that
I'm
has
saying
been successful.
Is they decided to not do an experimental hire. So much of this bullshit going on around the league or even in college, or whatever, all these experimental hires. You know, you look at the Bears. The Bears have done this so much where they're just hiring the next experimental guy. You know how that experiment goes every time? Sucks. It always sucks. So just hire like a true tested guy. Jacksonville finally does it. I hope it works. Well, sorry, I don't hope it works out.
Yeah, screw him.
But this is the first time where I believe that maybe it could work out for Jacksonville. As far as Dallas goes, Dallas is going to be Dallas until Jerry's done there. That's all it is. I don't think it has a lot to do.
Or what?
I don't think it has a lot to do with McCarthy. You know, Dak really impressed the hell out of me this year. You know, he took his game to another level. I think they need to readdress their offensive line again. And Jerry needs to get out of the way. That's all it is.
I 100% agree. The last one, 49ers Packers. I wanted Aaron Rodgers to win because he's unvaccinated. A lot of people didn't want him to win because of that. So I was like 100% in the minority. And then I'm over at my buddy Charlie's place, who's from he's actually from Green Bay. So he has the right to be a Packers fan. He's not someone from Denver who like one random uncle was a freaking Packers fan who lived in like Texas. And all this other crap, because they come from everywhere, right? So I'm sitting there watching them. The Niners get it done at Lambeau. Chuck is crying on the floor. I'm drinking his Miller Lights, like whatever. So all of a sudden, I knew they weren't going to get through LA because LA would get so much more TV money, and there were going to be some skeptical calls in the second half. That was my opinion. But what is going on with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? Do you think that he is done and he's out there?
Sly, you go first, and I'll say my opinion.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea. It would be the dumbest thing in the world for the Packers to send it because right now he is the best quarterback in the NFL, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It would also be the dumbest for them not to, though. I'll tell you why.
Not to send him.
Yeah, see, I want to know why you think it's
no. I mean, you said they'd be. Yeah, I think.
Oh, well, yeah,
I
he
think
does
they should
take
trade
up
him.
a ridiculous amount of money.
Why
which
you trade
means
him?
they can't have a lot of playmakers
Well,
around.
why am I trading him?
Yeah.
Why am I trading him?
You're getting drafted.
I'm trading him because he's.
Well, what are you getting for him? Jack shit.
Well, you'll get
better than
something.
letting him go.
You'll get at least a first rounder or whatever, or he's just like, I can't stand these guys. I'm going to retire, and then you get nothing out of them. That's kind of what I'm saying. And because he's like, well, I'm only coming back if Adams comes back. Well, Aaron Rodgers' cap is like 46 million already. The only way Adams is coming back is if they franchise him, which that's like what 20, like that's 60 some million right there. Like,
Yeah, but the
I don't
salary
know.
cap is going to go up by another 30 million next year.
No, it's not. Not like that. Because they like last year, the excuse was COVID. But I think
Yeah,
it
and
would
the
be
salary cap still went up 20
but
million
he doesn't.
in a COVID year.
I don't think he wants to play there. Now
Okay,
they
Danny,
might.
if
He
you're
might.
if you're the Packers, are you taking the best deal or are you getting as far away as Green Bay as possible?
I'm taking the best deal. Because and the reason I say this is they screwed up. You don't ever draft a first rounder and waste a first round talent, or even you could trade back and get a second rounder and a fifth rounder, or you don't waste talent when you have a guy still in his prime. It's the dumbest thing of all dumbness I've ever seen in my entire life.
And we can
How about
plainly
the fact
see
they
it was a miss.
That's the first offensive player they drafted in the first round.
It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I've seen dumb stuff. This was the dumbest thing I have ever seen. To draft someone to replace Aaron Rodgers when he has 8 years left, nothing in those people should be gone.
Mhm.
Like if you're trying to run a good, efficient, dominant business, if something like that happened, like in like just a company, they'd be like, what are we doing? Those guys need to be gone.
Mhm.
You're making our best player or our best employee mad. Like there's nothing about it that makes sense. It's like messing with someone who is your best salesman in their 40s and saying like, I'm going to actually replace you. Like, that's just stupid. I've never heard anything so dumb in my life.
To follow your guys' thread for the San Fran deal, let's say that San Fran and Green Bay trade quarterbacks here, and Garoppolo goes to Green Bay. Then my pick to win the NFC North is now the Vikings, and my pick to win the Super Bowl is the 49ers.
I would agree.
I think I grew up. We had season 49er tickets. We saw the end of the Montana, the young years, Favre years. I mean, we saw some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time to come through there. And I just when we see Garoppolo, like, he's fine, he's whatever, he's a game manager, but just doesn't feel like, they have Deebo Samuel, they have a really good defense, but he can't seem to get the plays done when they are like you saw at the end of the Rams game.
That's Jimmy's problem. Once it goes off script, it's a shit show.
I
he knows where he's going with the ball, it's all good.
I don't really like, I'll be honest, I don't really like their talent in San Francisco. Like, I love Deebo, but I don't love all their receivers' talent. Like, he's good, but like,
you kind of had a little bit of a breakout kind of at the end.
Yes,
of the year.
like he's a good
for
player.
For a number one pick, he should be producing more.
Yes, but if he goes there, Adams is going to. They've already said basically.
If San Fran gets Aaron makes all the skill players better.
Yes, but not. Samuel's. I think
you have
Samuel's
what I believe
special
the
talent,
greatest
but in
tight
a
end in the
way.
game right now. I believe you got the greatest tight end in the game.
You got to have three receivers that are dogs,
and you got Deebo, and all you got to do is go find a big receiver that he can chuck it up to.
See, that's where I disagree. I don't like a big unless it's Devontae Adams.
Yeah, but
I'm not a big receiver fan. I don't think they're very
Who's
good.
the guy for Seattle? Who's the guy for Seattle with the green hair and he's a freak?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to him.
That's DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf. That's
to quote Danny, if as a 49er fan, if Aaron Rodgers comes, I'm all for it. I'm just saying.
Oh, and you're getting Devontae Adams if he comes.
Pretty sweet.
But you can't come to San Francisco because he's unvaccinated. We're screwed.
Mikey, I got a subject for you for our next podcast.
Playing outside.
What's a bigger mystery, the fact that the Vikings broke off Mike Zimmer or Mike Zimmer's girlfriend? Wow.
He has a girlfriend?
Props to Mike Zimmer. I'm just going to throw that out there. You can hit that.
Whoa. Tease. You know what we call that in the business? We call that a teaser.
Danny Woodhead, Matt Slauson. Out of nowhere. That is the podcast. You can check it everywhere you get the podcast. And gentlemen, keep up the great work. And I appreciate you guys taking one for the team. And we'll see you in Nebraska this summer.
Sounds great.
Mikey, I'll talk to you soon. It's the principal.